Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another installment of the Bullpen. Kev, we got a huge board. Why don't we get straight to it right now? Go ahead and lead us off.
Yeah, thanks, Raf. Today we're talking about the clean aesthetic of gold BJJ. They're phenomenal streetwear they've got. It's not just training gear, guys. You can get streetwear. Raf, are these all gold BJJ? All of these cards are gold BJJ?
Yep, just read the script like we talked about.
Yeah, you're right. They've got a variety of styles. They have a bag. It's phenomenal competition gear. You can bring it with. You can throw it in the wash. Raf, these are really cool. Are any of these for me? Like that bag?
No. They didn't have any stuff for you. They ran out of your
Well, they're really affordable if you need to go out there and get them. You can just get the stuff, goldbjj.com.
These shorts are awesome. I'm going to get this. Wait. Oh, this.
Do they have a second set for me? Is that a thing they have?
They were like, hey, man, we ran out of stuff, and they didn't have it in your size because like fat. You know what I mean? So, like, these are all for like me. goldbjj.com.
Deep mountain to climb to become a master, especially when the task at hand puts a relentless demand on your body. There is nothing casual about this sport. It's all in, all effort, all focus. It takes a lot from you, but the reward is unmatched. Mastery of oneself, an acute understanding of your weaknesses with an explosive sense of your strengths. Being able to complete the climb to mastery requires the proper nutrition. This is why it's important to take in a potent blend of electrolytes that is in tune with your output and brings strength to your goals. This potent blend is only found in salt electrolytes. Salt targets your depleted electrolyte levels with a boost of hydration and health. It gives your body the baseline recovery it needs.
Elevate your BJJ game with inverted gear, where pandas and performance meet. Whether you train in a gi or prefer no gi, we have something for you. Our gear is built to last and designed to perform no flashy extras, just high-quality craftsmanship and minimal design. Plus, pandas. Don't miss our back-to-school sale going on now. Visit www.invertijar.com and roll with confidence panda style.
What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you live on this beautiful Friday afternoon. And I just see that Kevin rejoined us, which was not scary because we were going live. And it would be good to have Kevin on the show where we normally have 3 different panelists. Not like I set everything up and had it ready to go and Kevin was mysteriously missing, and that could have been disaster if I would have cut to him and been like, hey, why don't we check in with our good friend, KEVIN SHERRILL. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. It froze on the intro. I think my computer liked that inverted gear a little too much.
Absolutely. Look at you, young man. You have finally done it. I can take this thing off now. I can say, yes, KEVIN SHERRILL has actually done the thing. Look at what you did. Do you feel more like a professional now?
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing says professionalism like a cat castle in the background.
Speaking of which, let's go to the other professional member of the crew, one, Tim Freeman. Tim, how do you feel about Kevin's professionalism now?
Well, I'm happy he's finally here with a microphone. It took 3 months, and it took quite a lot of peer pressure and shaming, but we did get him in. Professional's a stretch. Striving to be professional is maybe a little closer, but I'm happy to be here, man. It's good to see you, Kevin. I could actually hear you and see you properly. And for once, you got out of the Motel 6 studio, so I appreciate that.
That is fair. But now all 3 of us have professional microphones. You can hear us mostly clearly. And I have to tell you, boys, I'm very excited about what our future holds. So just as a reminder, the three of us will be your official pre and post show for the PGF. We're just a few weeks away. And I have to tell you, I've been watching all of the Grapplers documentary. And Kevin was mentioning one moment where he was on the show when we were doing our pre-show here. But Kevin, how do you feel that you have been portrayed on this show?
I have not watched it.
Wait, you have no idea. So what you were mentioning to me, you didn't know that appeared in the documentary.
Nope. No idea.
Fascinating. Tim, have you been doing your homework and watching the documentary?
I have been keeping up with it. And true to form, Kevin is a real villain. He's a villain. This is why he's highly disliked in the community. He has villain behavior. This is one of the things that I've noticed about Kevin.
Hell yeah. Tell your friends.
The only thing I think we could improve upon it is that if we're going to portray Kevin a certain way, I feel like we have to go the full reality TV series style. So he needs to have like a catchphrase, like he's a Real Housewife. That's like, don't stall on me. That's not what I do. Like something that lets us know your character and very quickly gets to the point of who and what Kevin Sherrill is. So I do see this. You can always tell the people who work on this show because they feel like they could say whatever they want. And one, Brian Peterson says, Kevin's mic coming in as hot like that salt ad. So, yes, the salt ad is very loud generally, but we did turn it down based off of the joke that Brian Peterson did say the other day. So thank you, Brian. And look at this. Egghead points out he's a real podcaster now. Yes, he is. He has come a long way. He's overcome some odds. So we did start talking about what was referred to as an October surprise. So, Tim, what exactly is the Bullpen October surprise?
The Bullpen October surprise is our opportunity to hamstring this arrogant villain sitting over on the left pane here. And what we did was we put him in a position where he could not use a handful of submissions, the inside-outside heel hook. I believe we also took away the toe hold. And
the Aoki and the straight ankle.
Aoki and straight ankle. So we gave him a one-time ticket. He's got a one-time ticket, a Chuck E. Cheese coupon. He could redeem one time for any of those subs, but that's it. That's the October surprise.
So, Kevin, how has that been going for you so far?
So far, I'm still holding my one bullet. I'm not going to lie. I'm still holding that one bullet. I had somebody picked out at my seminar this past weekend. I was like, that's my guy. That's my one bullet. I'm going to use it my first week of the month. Let's go. And then we never ended up in leg exchanges, which was interesting. It was a weird match. It was a weird couple rounds, right?
No, I heard you right. I know exactly what you meant when you said match. Even though that gentleman probably had no idea it was a match, in your head it was 100%.
Oh, he was very aware. He was very aware. We were circling each other like sharks the whole time. And I was like, this is the guy.
I love that you told
us that. He's a nice
guy,
but yeah.
But has it proven to be difficult when you went back home, though? Because I'm not sure people know what's happening to you at home. Like, this might still be a surprise. We have not yet cut that little bit, and I feel like that might inform more people.
I have not told my students and teammates at American Top Team simply because they are savages. And if they hear I am not allowed to defend myself, they are going to fly onto my legs. So I'm making them think right now that like maybe I grabbed like a little fake Aoki and I like went like I was looking for the bite yesterday with one of the brown belts. I like made like I was looking for the bite to keep them honest. But if they know I can't like counterattack them, it's going to get real rough for me. When this comes out, if this ends up on Instagram, it's going to get real rough for me.
Are you hiding the show from them?
Wow.
They're not watching. Are you not telling them about this show? Are you doing this in secret? Are you living a double life?
So my students watch the show. My students watch the Grapplers documentary I was talking about. I don't watch it. I haven't. It's weird to see myself. I'm not going to lie. That's a weird experience for me. All of my students watch it. Almost all my students watch the Bullpen, at least my competitors. But I don't know if you've seen me post the videos, American Top Team Lima, we get about 60 to 80 people in the room. So like a lot of these guys don't know anything about me. They know I coach and that's it. One of them was talking about, I can't remember who it was. I want to say Spencer and Nick Ortiz. And they were like, yeah, man, have you heard of this guy? I'm like, yeah, I've trained with him, man. I've trained with him several times this year. Like, yeah, his coach was at the PGF. And he's like, what's the PGF? Like, this is great. This is fantastic. I've been coaching you for like 8 months. You don't know anything about me.
So let me see if I can recap here. You probably tell them to tune out after the intro segment. You're like, you don't need to pay attention to the board. Just literally show up for a little bit. I don't know if you know how I coach my students, but I start every instruction with, hey, can I answer any questions for you guys? Any techniques that you're having troubles with or anything that you are struggling with? Bullpen airs Fridays live. You're welcome to comment in. Anyway, back to your questions. What do you guys have to say? I shoehorn that shit in like it is a commercial crawl at the bottom of a show you're watching. Like if you're watching SVU, I'm making sure you know that the Chicago trio is going to happen later that evening. And then tonight, Jimmy Fallon will be on. So I do that in my classrooms as my promotion. You don't do that, Kevin?
I might do a giveaway. You bring up a good point. I might do these marked safe rash cards just came in that we've been making. Yes. And I might do a little giveaway because I've got 2 of them. And whoever tunes in first period, I don't know how I'll do it, but
okay.
If you tune in, maybe we'll do a little like, all right, the password is whatever. If you say that to me,
maybe
I'll put you in a raffle.
As a guy who's done a lot of organizing, what you might want to say is whoever has the best comment, because it allows them to go the full show. And as long as we go, they can put in as many entries as they want, but you get to pick who has the best comment. Also, the reason why you might want to do that is if you only have 2
direct
sizes,
engagement.
It's very discriminatory if you do not pick somebody in those 2 sizes where you're going to be like, I'm sorry, you're just fat. I can't give you this shirt now. So just keep that in mind.
But there's always the guy that wants the quadruple XL. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm sorry, man. We can't accommodate.
So, Kevin, you were the one to post up how we're all doing with our October surprise. And that got me thinking, I'm not sure you figured out that you're the only one with the October surprise. I was
told you guys each had one move that you weren't doing.
Who told you that?
You weren't here, so I was saying dad. That was my original point. Collectively, the group would say, I'm not doing this month. And then you didn't show up that day. And
it's just me.
Well, yeah, and I said, it's you.
Yeah.
So that you don't promote the show. You don't even pay attention when you're in the show. Because I literally I said this when you came on. I go, I was thinking about doing it for us, but now it's just you. And you go, great, we're all doing it. I go, no, just you. And then you put on the board, hey, let's check in with everybody's submission. And I thought, oh no, I really don't know that he picked up that part of what I was trying to be.
I thought, Raph, you put that on the board. I didn't realize that Kevin. I'm going to have to talk with Barry Sherrill here. This is
you thought he was like keeping a cover?
Everybody's doing, because we don't have a submission we can't do this month. And in fact,
I was on the same page, and my dad was like, they each gave up 1, and you gave up 4.
This is not Lent. We didn't give up anything.
Hold on. So now you're relying on your dad, who watched the episode you weren't on, where Tim and I came up with theoretical ones where we said, oh yeah, if I had to give that up, that's what I'd do. Yeah. But I knew in that moment it would just be you. And we remedied that the next week when you came back on. I was like, oh, we're going to do an October surprise, but for you. And you're like, yeah. And I go, how about this? And Tim, right away, when we said lower body, you're like, but I will. And you were thinking you want to get the guy who didn't know he was in a match, but was in a match with that move. And you still managed to do okay. And I'm telling you, the fact that you didn't tell your students now advises we need to take this a step further. So we will have Brian. I know you're hearing this right now. Brian cuts the social media clips for me. Brian will, I'm sure, 100% return with this as a clip.
Yeah, you got misinformation from your dad, man. Sorry to break it to you. That's how it works right there. When you
Your
That's
dad
exactly
parents-
here. I know it. I saw it. I
My
will tell you,
parents formed.
Mr.
My
Sherrill.
parents and my aunt watch every single episode. This what we are doing right now is on screen in Clanton, Alabama, in a gas station where my aunt works.
I
What's
love
up,
it. And
Alabama? Yeah.
Mr.
That's
Sherrill,
where she lives.
I want to say thank you for tuning in. I
Yes.
love that you tried telling your son, like, no, they got to give one up too. No, that's not the deal. As the executive producer of the show, I will tell you that was the terms that we came to for this month. Doesn't mean in other months we can't do one of these, but the whole bit of an October surprise is surprise. And guess what? It worked. So, surprise. Oh, so just so you know, Kev, he's already marked the time. Thank you so much, Brian. Brian
nice.
is a valued member of our team. Gentlemen, I did want to say this.
My dad just texted me. He said I misheard.
Oh, your dad said that he misheard. No, Mr. Sherrill.
I didn't realize that.
In real time. Damn, they are listening. I apologize, Mr. Sherrill.
Yeah, it was good.
It's
Okay,
insane.
but Mr. Sherrill, do you see how good you and your family are as supporters for us? Can we teach your son how to do that for a show for himself that he's on? Because you guys all seem to know when this goes on. Kevin cannot be bothered to tell his students, like, hey, be cool if you guys tuned in for a little thing I do with my buddies.
It's all over my Instagram.
Ish, but you know what? A lot of stuff is over your Instagram. I don't know if
That's
you've
true.
counted how many stories you share in a given day. Now, granted, a lot of it benefits me. And yes, you did put up 2 of my things this week, so it was adorable. Very nice. Thank you. But you are not short on sharing things. I think we know
That's
that.
fair.
You can't just sit there and be like, I put it on my Instagram. I'm like, bro, to find it on your Instagram would be a challenge. That itself is a game show. So anyway, we're going to get to the thing. And Tim, you did mention something to me. I'm going to show you right now the power of internet television, that I can take care of Tim Freeman in 3, 2, 1. Bam. He's mirrored like a real human being.
What? Nice.
Before we get to the board, though, I want to give a big shout out to Kendall Rosing and Alex Enriquez, who took home gold. And that was great for the UWW, the United World Grappling.
Oh, nice.
They have
Oh,
that
nice.
subset. So Kendall and Alex, friends of the show, super stoked for them. Part of our extended Subversive family. Kendall is one of our commentators with Tim. And I was super stoked when in the early aughts of the morning, she was able to take home gold. And Alex Enriquez, I believe, bringing home her 2nd gold. So very, very impressive work by the ladies
Nice.
out in, let's say, Azerbaijan. I don't know. I don't know
Yes,
where it is.
sir.
Is that where it is?
That's correct. Yes, it is.
I feel like I just always get it wrong, so I'm very happy I got that one right. But yes, big shout out to the ladies on that one. Gents, we can now move to the board. First things first. Yesterday was Fight Pass Invitational 8. It was an incredibly run event. It was done in 3 hours, and they had about 10 matches. And it was not short on highlights or epic moments. And I thought it would be time for our crew here to bring to your attention some of those epic moments and scenes. So I'm going to start with you, Tim. What caught your attention yesterday at the Fight Pass Invitational?
You know, I think the thing that stood out to me the most, Raf, is how smooth the production felt and just the quality and consistency of it end to end. The competitors, they came up to compete. They showed out. The refs did other things, but overall, I thought the stand-ups were pretty good. They didn't let anything go too far. Shaolin's doing a great job as a ref. I felt like it was a real good mark for the jiu-jitsu world, and it also kind of stands out and shows like the UFC's invested in this. The product feels like a UFC product, but UFC's not plastered over everything, but there's similar elements, and I think that draws the viewer in, and it's helping bring eyeballs to the sport. So thought it was a great job, man. I was really happy with the quality of that event.
I'm going to go to you, Kevin. What can you tell us about some of the submissions that took place yesterday, or at least a little bit of the action that you were able to catch?
Yeah, I'm not sure this many submissions was on anybody's projections. I was beyond impressed with Dante Leon's performance. That guillotine over Andy Varela, who is not an easy guy to put away. It seems like Dante Leon just keeps getting better. He's been established. He's been one of the best in the world. Wasn't known for his submissions for a long time. And then his submission rate at this past ADCC mixed in with this win over, again, an extremely tough to beat, incredibly tough to submit Andy Varela is quite the statement in this new age of jiu-jitsu. As it grows and you need more submissions, you need to be memorable with the fans. You need those highlights. He's adapted his game and he's putting guys away.
I want to point this out just from my perspective. I like the event a lot. I think they have truly gotten a lot of reps now and they're getting so much better. But I want to bring to your attention one big thing, which is this. The amount of push-outs. I saw Craig was highlighting what I was highlighting yesterday during our Fight Companion, which is there was a whole match or two where people just concentrated more on pushing their opponent out to the outer rims of the mat and then would almost go into almost hit the first rows. Canuto came dangerously close to those stairs. And I think that's concerning me because I feel like the athletes are building that in as part of their strategy. And as a result of that, I don't know that that makes for better grappling. I think it makes for a strategy base that they could be trying to game a system. And now I'm seeing a lot of people calling for a pit, Craig Jones being one of them. I find it hard pressed to say no to something like that, especially those particular moments. So I'm going to open it up to the panel. I'm going to see if you guys feel the same way. Do we need to start really highly considering the element of a pit? And I'll start with you, Kevin. Do we need to bring a pit in for the Fight Pass Invitational?
I'm a huge fan of the pit. I don't think anybody's ever watched grappling and thought this needs more resets. So if you can manage the boundary or basically make a boundary manage itself, I think that's a solid win for the sport. I also was surprised at how dynamic it was at CJI. It doesn't hold up the action. It doesn't turn into wall work. It creates scrambles because when you get backed up against the wall, you start to slide and you have to make either your guard a supine guard where you can't use your feet, seal your back to the mat, or you have to sit up and expose your back. It creates a really, really immediate dilemma that creates a ton of action. I think we should move to the pit. I'm surprised it hasn't already happened across the board with people at least trying it for an event or two.
Tim, what are your thoughts?
I like the pit. I think it's fun to watch. I don't think it's going to be practical for every promotion to have a pit. They're probably top of already dealing with mats. It does make the action better. I do agree with you, especially if there's a rule format where guys are heavy on the wrestling and they push each other out. We did see quite a bit of that. Here's what I'm looking for. We need a mat that is a four-way conveyor. And every time you start to push that guy out, that mat just goes and just pushes you back in. And you go the other way, it just moves you back in. There's no running from it. The pit wall's good. But as we see more matches with the pit, we're going to find the problems with it. Guys are going to exploit it, and they're going to figure out ways to win without necessarily pushing the action. And then that'll have to be addressed. But I agree. The pit is an exciting innovation in jiu-jitsu right now.
Let me point this out. I'll take that call. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. My issue is twofold here. I don't like being bullied into having to do a pit. So everybody chill. Don't yell. Don't scream out pit every time you're in a comment section. But number two, I'm open to it. And I feel the reason why Fight Pass Invitational can house a pit is they have the risers. And I think that makes a better viewing experience when you have the risers and you can see into the pit. I don't know that other organizations have that capability. Counterpoint to that, though, is we're now starting to see the future is now. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but people are building their own pits into their gym. So it does feel like they're already starting to invest in it. Whether people are going to agree to it or not, it does look like there is a group of people. And I wonder this, though. I wonder if people now changing the infrastructure of their gyms is because they see that $1 million there. And that it's similar to when people used to say, I want to compete for ADCC and I want to be in a champion. Without saying it, they're saying, no, if we do this, this is now an investment in our grappling future. And I think without even having to be obnoxious about it, they are inadvertently telling you, starting to build that in so they get that edge. And I think they're planning for the future that is not necessarily decided just yet. So I do want to point that. Oh, good Lord. This is Egghead coming in with his late 90s moment. Jamiroquai already trademarked that, Tim.
I remember that video.
It's virtual insanity, indeed.
Yes.
It's a great video. I love that video.
That would work, though.
I want the job of being the guy on the sticks, keeping everything in the middle. That sounds like a blast.
Just keeping dudes in the middle the whole time.
I wonder if you can give them a little rumble to create some action sometimes.
Like a vibration.
You were on the same page I was, which I thought, how short are we to prodding these athletes? Because I know that acknowledgement look that somebody looks at the person, they go, yeah, no, we'll keep it in the center. And then they're immediately pushing, which means that look was bullshit. So I don't know that I can fault the athletes per se, because they are trying to win. But as Tim mentioned, no matter what system you have, they're going to game it. And if that's the case, are you going to feel bad that you made this pit and people in 2 months move on and go like, I don't care for the pit anymore? So I think the idea is to be well-versed, just try to be open to stuff, because I think if you want to compete and run it in the different rule sets, you probably should be adequate at doing all of them. So
I think we'll see the no pun intended pitfalls when it makes its way to blue belts. It's like you see the worst EBI matches in the world and the worst ADCC matches in the world when you get like lower level competitors, the blue belts, the white belts, the occasional like local purple belt where they haven't really figured out their jiu-jitsu and they just run into like a technical wall mixed in with like a lack of literal wall.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is like the opposite of bowling. When you're a beginner bowler, we put those rails up so you can't go in the gutters. The better you get, we drop the gutters. In grappling, we put the gutters up. Oh, you're an expert? We need gutters for you, man. Let's put them up.
All right, gents, we are going to move to our next topic. And I did see a live update from our good friend, KEVIN SHERRILL over here. So I'm trying to find a way to implement it. But I will come back to that shortly. But for right now, why don't we go ahead and advance it, and I'll tell you what the next topic is, which is, guess what, everybody? Over the weekend, some unfortunate business happened in the world of grappling and jiu-jitsu. There was a gentleman, a man, who saw that his son was being beaten by a girl, and as a result of it, decided to make a cry face and then flip the girl off when she went to get a handshake from him. It has gone fairly viral in the community, but I wanted to give both of our panelists here some time to give their responses to it. And I figured we would start with Tim Freeman, who is both a father, a coach, and a competitor. So Tim, what made you of this very unfortunate video?
Well, I love piñatas. Dale, dale, dale. That is the piñata song, man. Sung at a lot of birthday parties for my kids as they bat the piñata around. Listen, man, who hasn't flipped off a kid? Or who hasn't wanted to? Let's just say that. You know, two parts to the story, right? The story comes out, and initially it's like, man, this dude flipped off a kid, and everyone's like, whoa, you flipped off a kid? Like, what, are you crazy? And then he comes out, he apologizes, he's humble, he explains it, he says, hey, she was talking smack to my kid, I got upset, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I get it, but look, man, your kid is a kid, and whoever's talking smack to them, if they're a kid too. Let the kids handle their beef. Big bad dad doesn't need to get involved and flip people up. This is a little bit of a problem in youth sports in general, is that the parents are hyper aggressive, or let the kids handle it. Get over it. Doing something like that and then having to come out and apologize is just embarrassing, and it's kind of lame, and it was avoidable. Poor taste on the person's move who flipped the kid off, but they're kids, man.
All right, Tim, thank you for that. Kevin, what was your response to that video?
I have a strategy recommendation. I think it was silly of him to apologize, and he should have kept that feud going for, I don't know how old, or we'll assume 10. I think if he waits 5 years when puberty hits his son, he's not losing to that girl again. You got to keep the feud going, really draw it out, and run it back in 5 years when that kid's 180 pounds and that girl is 120. I really think that's the strat. This guy's not thinking long term. That's my issue.
Oh, okay. So your thought is that this video that we're looking at right now, which let's go back here for a split second. And I want to point this out. When we go to look at this, it's the flick off that always catches us by surprise. Because then you see somebody who's going over to this person and the look on his face like, yeah, I know. But I mean, all I did was give a little cryy face. It's all good. I'm just going to get my stuff and move.
Yeah.
Like that to me registers as one of the more embarrassing moments in parental history. So let me just put the perspective for you guys out there. Yes, I know we can make fun of these things and have a great sense of laughing about it.
Who does this?
No, hold on. We're going to come back here. But I want to point this out. Even Kevin's dad, who regularly tunes into this show, does not send us notes being like, you're being a little hard on my kid. If anything, he's the one that goes, yeah, you know what? I told you the wrong information, Kevin. That's on me. My man is such a supporter here. Be a father like Mr. Sherrill, if you would. But let me go back to this video here because, guys, and we make it a point on this show to always play it from all angles. So we're going to do it again. But I want you, this is a full screen version of it. All right. So look, I'm opening with the Pan's Labyrinth eyes and arms gesture, if you would. And basically saying cry, and then the flip off, like not even Stone Cold Steve Austin flipped off a child. Dude, and then the best part here is the repercussions because this dude with the hat is like, sir, we need to chat. And he does it again to justify his actions. He's like, hold on. I didn't really do anything other than just do this. And so he's showing them like, oh, in case you didn't see it, this was it. I didn't do anything crazy. And now he's asking this gentleman, the older folk, is asking for just some clarification. Like, what the fuck were you doing there? And he goes, no, I just cried. I was just simulating crying. I didn't do anything wrong. And then at this point, he's pointing at himself like, I will kick your ass, sir. And he just kind of puts his hands up like, yeah. All right. I mean, this dude's going to kick you out too. Oh, does it one more time. Where would you like to go, Tim?
Go to the very beginning and pay attention to the dude that calls him out. He's watching him right here. Look how his face changes when he realizes that he flips the kid off.
He said, no, we're not doing that.
He's watching him like, what? He's doing crybaby. Oh, hell no.
Like, oh, you know, because I'm sure the entire time he was watching him like a hawk that said like, well, don't take this too far. That's too far. So normally I would put us back on the screen here, but I want to put this as juxtaposed with the comment that he put up. And I'll read this for you guys in case you were unable to or driving. It says, this unfortunately was me in the video. It was uncalled for and not something I'm proud of. This has nothing to do with the gym. I completely lost my cool. We should have stopped there. I think we probably would have had a better statement right about there, but he decides to give you more context. What was not seen in the video was after the match ended, which my son lost, he was crying. The girl in the video turned to my son and made the crying face at my son and told him to cry about it. The ref warned her to stop. She walked towards me and said the same thing, which is when I lost my cool. All right. So when you have to justify your actions, like, no, the child started it. Rhetoric, not 100% the best, but I understand he's giving us his side of the story. It says, it should have never happened. I should have never lost my cool. 2 wrongs don't make a right, and all I can do is apologize. I should have acted like an adult. Unfortunately, I didn't. I am disappointed with myself for how I conducted myself. This should have never happened. All I can say is I am truly sorry. I'm sorry to the girl in the video and to my son, also our gym. I am sorry for my actions.
He could have responded with a reel and just signed it out, you know, did all the gestures about how he's sorry. Like,
I don't think I'd ever publicly admit that was me, bro. You gotta change your haircut. You gotta change states. You gotta get out of there, dude. How do you not lose your job?
I felt like this is a moment that could have been teachable. And if he had just said, I lost my cool, listen, I was wrong. I get it. It's a childish thing. Done. I think we probably would have all grown in. The idea for him to give the context, which is, whoa. I wouldn't just do this for no reason. I had my reasons. We are now getting into the 10-episode Netflix back series about this guy's origin story. That's like, hold on. I once was made the crybaby face. No, I don't know. All I can say is this. I don't want to encourage further dumb stuff like that, but let this be a teachable moment. Parents, I know it's tough. I am not a parent, so I'm not going to tell you that I know what it's like to have a kid out there competing. But I can tell you as a coach, it is very difficult to watch your friends, your kids go out there and compete. Just be happy that they're going out there. Be happy there was no actual harm. Yes, you don't want to see your son or your daughter cry, but look at how the internet reacted to you. It will make you look embarrassing. We'll do a segment on the show. We probably won't feel too bad about it. But the idea is this. The reason why is because the community tends to self-police these things. And it comes as odd in our community when somebody does that. And it usually means they don't train. We don't know that for sure. But look at the reactions people have said. It is a very one-way street here. Aside from these two ding-dongs who are like, I don't know, man. I mean, let's try and build this up to the next fight that we can get from these kids.
Rematch. Yeah, front kicker.
Of course, we say these things in jest, but we remind you to support people. You could still be on camera. You don't want to have a moment like this. And I'm glad that nobody actually ended up getting hurt. I'm glad that people actually went up to them and told them to chill the F out. So what I would say is to that gentleman, I hope we can accept your apology. The best way is that you just don't do it again, because for now you have gifted us this video, which we will laugh at because we have that right to do.
What I would like to add is congratulations to his former teammates and former coworkers who I assume no longer have to deal with him. So Mazel Tov. Cheers.
He lost his mime job.
Well, hopefully.
you're bringing up a very important part, which is I'm only talking about this from the community aspect, from the jiu-jitsu community aspect. I didn't take it from did this make its way to his job? Because those things can happen in this world. I just feel like, I don't know. I've definitely made gestures. I think once on stage, I said a joke that I was like, I didn't really want to say that one. It happens. But I mean, it's how you carry yourself afterwards. It's just very odd to go back and then explain, like, see, the reason why this child got to the core of me is that I felt for my son. My family was under attack. Out. You know, you get to those moments and you go, listen, dude, it was just a lapse in judgment, so please don't. But let this be a lesson to other parents. Don't do this shit. Legitimately do. I
would have gone to my grave denying that was me. There's no shot. If I ever flip a child off, I'm going to my grave like, nah, man, it's just some other guy. It's crazy how similar our tattoos are.
It's going to be something where I think at the eulogy that we give at your funeral, it'll be, Kevin famously said he did not flick off a child. So the footage will not lie. And though he denies that's him, DNA did prove it was the same guy. So there is that. Anyway, we can move on to the next topic, but I definitely saw the community was very, very entertained by that one. Hey, did you guys know that Pit Submissions is happening tonight? Don't forget about it. We want to support all of the great things in jiu-jitsu. And yes, it kind of flies under the radar sometimes. We're not quite sure where and when they happen, but when they do, you see people come out of the woodwork. Wagner Hocho is on it. You got AJ Agazarm who is on it. And I wanted to ask you sent me a video here, Kevin, so give me a second to pull that up, but I'm going to start with you, Tim. What are you excited about for this event?
There's 3 names on the card that literally walk around like a keg of gasoline looking for a match. And when I say match, I mean an actual match that starts a fire. Wagner Rocha, you named two of them, AJ Agazarm, and he'll be the match to your fire, that's for sure. And Daniel Sattler. These are three dudes that come with a lot of heat and a lot of attitude and passion when they get out there. And I think you could see fireworks, especially in that Wagner match. He's going up against Cologne Sabino, who beat Wagner's son Achilles and then called Wagner out. And so now Wagner is coming to defend the Hocha name. I think you're going to see a great match. For sure, Wagner's going to slap somebody, just like Varela slapped Varela slapped Dante Leon yesterday. It's just going to happen, man. You know it's going to happen. It's going to be a great matchup. I'm looking forward to those.
I do appreciate Tim is in the livelihood, the realm of, slaps are going to happen. In this day and age, slaps will make themselves present at that. I have got a lot of responses from people asking my thought on it, and I just said, it's difficult when you're trying to dial yourself up to 100. That for Andy, he has fought before, so I think that's just in him. It just came at the expense of a very good grappler who made very quick work of him shortly after that. So, listen, dude. It's not for everybody, I can tell you that. But that look on Dante Leon when he let go of that guillotine was, it was a by default pretty badass moment because, you got slapped and then you were able to make something of it. But I think it caught us by surprise. Anyway, Kevin, your response.
If you say his name is Sabino,
Yep.
If he beats Wagner, does he complete the set? Does he call out Jasmine? Is that the next step? It seems like the natural next step to me. Yeah. You got to run it. He needs
intergender matches you are proposing on this episode might be too high today, sir.
It's 2024, man. Intergenerational. Let's make it happen. Let's run it.
Yeah.
The stakes have never been higher. His entire family's on the line. Jasmine's got to step up to save the family name. Let's go.
So, Kevin, a few seconds ago, you sent me something, and I think I found a way to implement it on the show. So give me a second here, and I want you to walk me through what this all means, because it shows you actually did your homework on this one. But I'd love to hear what it is that you see going on this video that's on replay for us right now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so... yeah. If you guys haven't seen this, clearly there's a costume shop out back of Pit Submissions. I can't believe that man owns that leopard coat all the time. Like, that's a new addition. Skateboard shirt. Absolutely. That feels on brand. But yeah, it looks like Pit Submissions is doing weigh-ins right. They know what they're about. Not one person is allowed to look like a normal functioning human being.
Kevin, have you ever thought about wearing just like a leopard print sort of a thing here? Has that ever gone into your mindset?
That's more of an Elijah thing.
Yeah, that's fair. That now that you bring that up, I was wrong to even suggest that. You're right. You would know these things, children, if you had watched the Grapplers documentary, which also still catalogs the age-old will they, won't they love story between Kevin and Elijah. So tune in next season.
It's apparently been outstanding. People have been coming out of the woodwork to tell me how great it is. I will get around to watching it. It just makes me uncomfortable seeing myself on TV.
You're on TV right now.
I know.
Okay.
You're not on TV the whole documentary. I think Kevin thinks he's on the entire time.
It's not about me.
On every episode that drops every week. Dude, it's not quite like that. It's just like little pieces. You show up, then you go away. You might be standing in the back.
Sounds like they did it wrong.
This is so entertaining to me is that you got Kevin over here acting like he's Meryl Streep. Like, it's hard to see myself on screen. You're not acting, it's just you. And
it's just weird.
I am sure it is somewhat weird, but it's not that weird when it's part of the event, because 96% of what you're seeing on there is not you on screen. So I don't know if that's a deterrent that now makes you not want to watch it.
I'm just going to scroll through that part.
Because I'll be perfectly honest, my cameos are as such. One, John Combs is trying to beat the shit out of me when he showed up, and I was like, go weigh in. Funny. The second one is something you were directly involved in, which was when Max Hansen showed up and they about Statler in front of me, and I'm just interviewing. That's what I was doing. Yeah, I can't deny the fact that I was trying to tell this kid, like, why are you saying what you're saying? And, so far I'm batting 1,000 on my cameos. And I thought you were coming off very good. Not Canuto good, but who is going to come off that good?
Right.
Gentlemen, we're going to advance here, but I do want to point this out. It says, Wallow J, Kevin has the spa day robe. He should wear that. That's actually not a bad branding idea. Okay, we can definitely work with something like that. Okay, thank you for that, Wallow. We advance the board to our next topic, which is, gentlemen, listen, when I put the advancement here, you're going to see what I want you to talk about. Originally, I told you to pitch me something you could debate. I didn't like any of it. So now we're going to go to a topic that you will learn for the very first moments when you see it on here. And I wanted to pick something divisive, something that you guys could truly impress me, because why are we doing debates now? Well, apparently there's no more presidential debates. For different reasons. I don't know. Somebody says they won. They didn't. The other person's like, hey, I want more TV time. It's free time. And listen, it's a mess. So rather than watching the political debate, I want to put us into a debate here and see, as an exercise, how our two correspondents do under fire. So as we advance this here, I look at you guys and your debate topic, be it resolved. What is the best burger chain? Now, gentlemen, the way this is going to work is you will each have 1 minute to convince me, the moderator here, what is the best burger chain. You will then have 1 minute for cross-examination, where you may challenge the other's interpretation or conventions. I'm going to start with you, Kevin Sherrill. I ask you the question, what is the definitive and best burger chain?
Easy choice. It's got to be Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Simply because, and you can attest this, we can run the numbers, we can check the scoreboard. It is actually $57 a burger. And if you want fries, it goes all the way up to $84. And the fact that people are willing to pay exorbitant amounts for what is functionally still a good burger, it has to be at the top. It's the same way we grade Chipotle. Everyone goes to Five Guys. Everyone goes to Chipotle. They eat it. They love it. And then they complain about how terrible the service is, how expensive it is, the portions, how it doesn't really work out. Love the thumbs up. Already getting fans. How these things are huge negatives, and yet they still eat there. Easy. Five Guys. Gotta be.
All right.
I cede my time to Tim because he's going to need it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, you know what? I do agree. Five Guys has a decent burger. Using Chipotle is wild. They're probably the most terrible place in the world, but everybody's got their own thing. That's cool. I would argue, listen, if you're talking about burger chain, I'm going classic. And this is going to turn some people off, but hear me out. You cannot go wrong with Mickey D's. No matter where you go, Alabama, and pull into a Mickey D's and get a plain cheeseburger, and you know what you're going to get. There's not a Five Guys out there. McDonald's will cost you $3. It's cheap. It'll feed you. It won't kill you unless you have it every day. But who does that? That's not part of the point. And it's a consistent product. Plus, if you got kids, they got ball pits. They got Ronald McDonald. Back in the day, they had the Hamburglar. They have, like 80cc, they have a rich legacy of feeding people cheeseburgers. Billions served. Billions.
Okay, gentlemen, I've heard your opening statements. Thank you so much for that. We are now going to get to cross-examination here, and I do want to point this out. Egghead's trying to come in here and run this like it's his courtroom. This is not your courtroom, sir. This is my courtroom. It says, remember, cross-examination should only be leading questions where they can only say yes. Thank you for that. That is why we have the judicial system that we have, I think. All right, gentlemen, here's what we're going to get into. Now you will each have 1 minute for cross-examination. In that time, I will expect you to try and challenge the other person's contentions. So right now, Kevin, you get the opportunity to ask Tim any questions about his argumentation. You have 1 minute on the clock. Go.
Who do you think has better fries, Mickey D's or Five Guys?
Are you out of your mind? McDonald's has the world's most classic French fries. Fresh, hot, can't be beat, soaked in beef tallow. Five Guys French fries are terrible, man. They shred a potato and they throw a bunch in the bag, and they're like, "Oh yeah, feel blessed. We gave you extra." Put that in the trash.
So
I want it in a big ass red box. That's what I want, man.
They're only $1. I'll give you that, but you can't have the best for $1 unless, I guess you can. You can't have the best. I'll give you that one. But they do have the Big Mac scale, right? Right? That's the economists use it because of how prevalent McDonald's is.
Yes.
You talked about 1 billion served. That is, they still have that scale so much so that they're an established economic measure. Making a lot of sense. I don't know, man.
Okay. He's faltering here. I'm going to go to you, Tim. You now have a minute on the clock for your cross-examination to Kevin's line in his opening statement. Go.
So, Five Guys, would you say they have quality ingredients?
Yeah, but not quality. Like burger quality. Burger quality, right? Let's not get crazy. I'm not eating a steak.
How many burgers have they served? What would you guess if you could just say, like, how many?
At least 5.
Have they sold less burgers than McDonald's?
Yeah.
Has there ever been a documentary about Five Guys?
About how obscenely unhealthy Five Guys is?
Okay, all right. I'll give you that. Five Guys is good. I don't know. I kind of see your point.
Hold on, I'm running out of time for you guys on that. Can I just say this? I hate that this got to the Waltz and the Vance level of like, well, we have a lot of things in common. No, you don't. Shut the fuck up.
Making a lot of sense. Making a lot of sense, man.
I actually think Five Guys is.
Can I change my answer?
Can you? No, you can't change your answer.
I wouldn't get off that, Tim. I think Mickey D's is great.
I actually think Five Guys is better than Mickey D's. To be honest, I was going to pick Five Guys.
All right.
I'm a Five Guys guy.
Before you finish, you have to give a closing statement, and then I will figure out who won based off of your closing statements and your overall effects. I'm going to start with you, Tim. You have 1 minute to give your closing statement. Time begins now.
There have been several moments in the history of humanity when great men have changed their mind. We see that when Caesar decided he was going to be Christian and the Roman kingdom changed and history changed forever. And today I stand here and look, like the greats that have come before me, Joe Rogan is another example of somebody who can change their mind. One of our current vice president changes her mind often. I stand here as a man who's humble, and it takes I change my mind. My closing statement is I think Five Guys is better, Kevin. I think you're right, and I want to retract my McDonald's push, and I think you're right.
Kevin, your 1 minute begins now.
I think you're being too hasty. I'm going to reject modernity. I'm going to embrace tradition. Mickey D's is an establishment. It changed America. I mean, it's iconic. It's embedded in who we are as a culture. I think you make a lot of great points. It's a monument. It's a landmark. It's so much more than a burger. More than 1 billion served. More than 1 billion served. It's fed people for a generation. I think you're being too hasty. I really think Mickey D's. I think you're making a lot of sense. I think it's got to be Mickey D's. I'd like to retract my Five Guys statement. I think Mickey D's has the best burger. Tim convinced me.
Okay, here's what's going to happen.
Raph has a migraine now. He literally touched both ears. He did it to Dr. X. He went Professor X. He went, ah.
Gentlemen, I've been so thoroughly disappointed in that. So what I'm going to do for the remaining time is I'm going to debate myself and show you how it's done. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. I'm going to go ahead and give an opening statement as to why Five Guys is the best burger out there. Now, I know a lot of you guys are so entrenched in In-N-Out Burger, but I got to tell you, Five Guys can meet that price because that price is what people want. Kevin mentioned the fact that people storm, they give their hard-earned money. They know what they're investing in. And with that result, you should be able to go somewhere and invest the money you want because that's what America really is. You know, actually, I'm going to make the argument for McDonald's. Here's the reason why. What else do you know? You don't say Five Guys and people know that as a worldwide brand. You know those arches. I know them too. They've even been satirized in the classic Coming to America. Has Five Guys had that? No, because nobody knows or cares what it is. Most of the time when you say Five Guys, they do the joke. So you know what? That goes to show you the low bar you have to clear. Cross-examination. Wow. So let me get this straight. You're obsessed with talking about branding, but you didn't talk about the burger. Actually, you're obsessed chasing In-N-Out. So I don't see why you can't just lay on your own burger and instead have to talk about the fact that you're so obsessed with In-N-Out, you can't even get anywhere further. All right, let's go to closing statements. Guys, I just want to tell you guys that we've been able to demonstrate that while our opponents have a burger that is worldwide and recognized, that they aren't worth the dollar menu they don't even serve anymore. If you truly want to give the best product to your family, you will give your entire paycheck to Five Guys. And then you'll have a happy family, but you will be in debt. I just want to say thank you to our my lively opponent here. Very, very well dressed, very handsome. It pains me to see somebody who wants to give away so much of the money they don't have. But it tells you this. Who was there for you in college when you needed that dollar menu? Who was there and says, maybe you can't have 20 McNuggets at $10.99, but you know what you can do? You can combine 2 4-pieces for like $5, which is actually not that bad. Sometimes you're in a pinch. Who has $1 menu? Cokes. I think it's clear today, you know the decision because you don't go to Five Guys multiple times a week. But when you were in college, when you were young, that Happy Meal did exactly that. Scene.
Well, I'm convinced Five Guys, McDonald's, and fries is the best.
I disagreed with half of your points, Raph. I'm not going to tell
cared
you
if
which
you
halves.
disagreed. They were just articulated, and I literally debated myself in literally 2 minutes with cross-egg.
This is the start of Raf's mental breakdown.
It's not even the mental
We did
breakdown. It's just me showing you guys how to do your job. Literally midway, you want to falter, and you're like, actually, I'd like to change my answer. And I was like, you don't
I don't know.
change
I
your
think we
answer.
both were
Do
just
you
so
think-
convincing with our opening statements, you know?
Do you think that man who was crying at that girl stopped midway and said, this is a terrible idea? No, he didn't. He did it twice. That man committed. And that's the commitment I want out of both of you. When you know you're wrong, run it into the ground and don't stop. Again, literally, he's not wrong on this one, though. So it says ineffective assistance of counsel for both sides. Yeah, I still love you guys, though. Anyway. All right, we'll move on. I'll give you guys notes off air. Here's where we're going next. And this is something that I think is interesting because the community may not fully know that they may be losing one of our best ones, but Mika Galvo may be facing changes in what it is that he's looking to accomplish. It seems at wrestling than he is in jiu-jitsu. And for more on that, I'm going to go to you, Tim. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Recently had an interview with a Brazilian media outlet called Mundo de Lucha, and he spoke about his quest or a desire of his to be in the Olympics. He talked about being a brown belt in judo, but said that he feels like the Judo Federation is probably too restrictive for him to get there. But he didn't rule out wrestling. He said that wrestling feels like it's the most natural crossover for him, and that there is a possibility that he goes through the Brazilian team to do that. I thought that was interesting for a couple reasons. One is obviously his girlfriend is a gold medalist this year, Amit Alor. She did a great job in the Olympics wrestling for the United States. And also, it kind of gives some credence. You don't see very, very many like jiu-jitsu grapplers crossing over into the other grappling arts and doing very well or even making a run for it. If Mika could pull something off like that, I think that would be a big feather in the cap for the jiu-jitsu world. Whether he can do it or not, I don't know. American wrestling is pretty tough to crack. I don't know if he has a better opportunity in Brazil, but I did find that is a pretty interesting point that he's making. Outside of setting his sights on MMA, the dude's great at grappling, but there is a chance we won't see him in a no-gi jiu-jitsu match for a while.
Kevin, I want to ask you this because you have experience wrestling, and I want to get your take. What do you think his odds are for success in wrestling, and what do you think he needs to be worried about or look out for when he does cross over into that world?
Extremely high. I think Mika is going to transition amazingly well. You were talking about not to disrespect an Olympic team, but you were talking about the difficulty of getting onto the Brazilian national team. I believe their judo team is extremely good. I don't. Nations tend to gravitate towards either judo or wrestling, and they don't really. There's not a lot of crossover. You don't know many nations that have chosen the gi versus no gi. It happens in stand-up grappling as well. They make a hard choice. You don't see many that are good at both. I think his odds are extremely good. There's something that you need in wrestling, and it's explosiveness. And I don't know if you know about this guy, Mika Galvão, but he's kind of explosive. I will say, and this might be slightly out of pocket, there's drug testing in the Olympics, and Mika has popped before. So worth a consideration. If he doesn't pop, he absolutely has the skill set to go out there and really, really put the world on notice, and it would be a great win for the jiu-jitsu community. I'm rooting for him personally.
You know, it is very funny. You brought up something that I was thinking of when they said he has Olympic aspirations. And I said, does he have clean aspirations as well? Because I know that was an issue that came up a few months ago, and Olympics don't play. Like,
no,
they'll
catch you.
That's not to say you couldn't have a lot of success in wrestling and other ventures. It's just, that's a tough one. And I wonder if it is one of those things where that is not in his system anymore. He's not doing something like that. But to my knowledge, famously difficult. Unless Brazil is there going like, it's not a problem. We'll get like a waiver. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Unless you have a nation behind you willing to invest like absurd amounts of money. I don't know how much Russia put behind their infrastructure for cheating. That's public knowledge. We're not gonna play. There's a whole documentary about it.
Can I also bring this up? How are you? Thank you for bringing up the documentary, by the way. How are you more like? I don't want to be spicy here, but I'm about to be spicy. When you had a debate element and you were like the most non-committal to being like, I mean, this is delicious food. I'm not gonna offend anybody here. You were spicier about the wrestling take than you were about your wrestling take.
Mickey D's is pretty good.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad
I think Mika has a chance to make the Brazilian team, but there's no way he's making the American team. I don't think that's going to happen.
No,
but he can make the Brazilian team. Look, the guys that are getting caught are the guys that aren't following the protocol. The guys that follow the protocol are not getting popped. So take that for what it's worth. I think there's more drug use than what we think in the Olympics.
I mean, yes, there are still people I feel like are getting by on the system, and people are getting more complex as we go. I think the better question is, are people going to care anymore about it? Like, I feel that there are more and more lines that get blurred where people go, I don't know, man. And I think what ends up happening is when you age out of certain brackets, that's when you see a lot of people go, I don't know. I mean, JRT's pretty good. I don't really care about steroids. I think they're pretty okay. Because they all want to continue playing. It's the Wagner Hocha response when he's like, I mean, me? Steroids? Yes. And he just tells you he's doing it. And he's trying to give you the justification, which is, oh, I mean, come on. Come on. Don't you want to see me out here? I mean, I want to be out here. I need them. Yeah, give me. Which is not far off from Gordon's explanation. So I think it really gets down to the fact of, will people still care about it? Because even if you won and got caught, it's almost like the athleticism at the time will be the thing that people remember more than the stipulations that happen to them or the repercussions that happen to them in that result.
Yeah, absolutely. The championships you win, people remember that. Unless you play baseball. If you play baseball, baseball doesn't mess around. They basically are like, nah, when you die, we'll acknowledge you.
R.I.P. Pete. But
yeah, I mean, I'm right, though.
I mean, my thing is baseball, maybe to their strength, says all of these other sports are adapting to the times. Why should we? It's our strategic idea is we have a strategic advantage to just be on the outside and let everybody else advance, while replay, no, if we make a bad call, we stick to it. You know why? Because that's what you do, kids. You stick to your bad decisions for the period of an hour. All right, we're gonna move on, and I will tell you this was a nice little delightful thing that came up on the feed, and I'll get your responses to it, gents. But it does look like, ADCC might get intimate. Or not. We're not sure. Mo, on a recent ADCC Instagram Live, said that if he were to do ADCC again, the next time it would be a smaller arena and that he would take care of the athletes, some, in private. I now ask for your responses, and I'll start with you, Kevin Sherrill.
Yeah, that's what we all want in this life, is to get closer to Mo. We all just want to be nice and intimate with Mo Jassim. I think it's a solid move. I really don't understand why jiu-jitsu and grappling in general, wrestling was always like this as well, is obsessed with getting the biggest arena possible. I don't think it's a financial driver, because you're not going to fill those seats. Just give us an arena where we can all get close, see the action. You're not panning up to empty seats. That's always disheartening. There's nothing quite like wrestling in front of 4/5 empty seats. So let's get everybody packed in. Let's make sure that we can all appreciate it. I think it's kind of funny that it's coming at the back end of CJI, but I honestly don't discredit Mo for making the right call.
Tim, your response.
I got a couple takes on it. One is, this could be just a smoke screen. And if Mo's doing that, that would be a genius move. Go on Instagram, go live, rattle off a bunch of stuff that you would do, that you're thinking about doing, or that you're going to do. Send Bugs Bunny Jones off on his own rabbit hunt, trying to figure out how to outsmart you and outwit you. And then you don't do any of the stuff you were talking about. You were just throwing a smoke screen. If he's not doing that, then he's missing a marketing opportunity. I think Intimate ADCC is a great extra product, an add-on that you have to pay more for, and it's a closer, more adult, in-depth look at it. It's ADCC, it's Mo Jassim in a cigar, smoking a cigar with a lounge Hugh Hefner robe on, chilling with Gordon and John D, and talking about all the adult stuff and drinking whiskey. Maybe that's what he's alluding to, but outside of that, hello, yesterday's news, dude.
Let me give you just my thoughts and response to this, which is as follows. Listen, I get it. You got a little burnt on this one. The CJI audience was very rabid. It probably did hurt some of the bottom line for ADCC, which looked like it did just fine. It just wasn't the exciting thing that weekend. When he talks about making something more intimate, all I can think of is those concerts that refer to themselves as up close and personal. Like, oh, okay, we're doing an acoustic version of ADCC now. Got it. Good to know. I feel like this is a huge shift if they were to do it, because all they ever said was it can only get bigger if you just make it obscenely and absurdly bigger with all these effects. And we've been saying you can hit a nice middle ground. You don't have to spend all this money on the ridiculous production that doesn't make any sense. I think they heard that part. What they didn't hear was, oh, they want to do something nice for the athletes, but in private. I don't know that that's going to work well for everybody, because then you're going to see people who don't know what they're getting paid. Like, you're going to see athletes who are going to be wondering if they're making Gordon Ryan money, because Gordon Ryan was bragging that he made more money than anybody else at ADCC CGI weekend, which begs the question, how? Because that wasn't disclosed. So if that's the case, yeah, you probably were paying some people behind the scenes more money than others, which is okay. But did it pay off? Not for those Gordon matches. Nope, not at all. If we're getting to the other elements, and I want to bring the entire group back for this one, the thing that stuck out to me was, it was one of the first times I think you heard Mo tease the idea of, if I do it again, which he's done before. But now there's a little bit of a ransom note with it, which is, I mean, if I do ADCC again, it'll be in the States. But if I don't, it'll be like Finland or somewhere else, which is now basically saying, like, if you guys really want it on American time, you better hope for me. And you think to yourself, wait, are you telling me I have to give you unequivocal support because you're the only option we have? When we've seen you're not the only option we have for something in a grappling in a U.S. territory. So sure, I don't mind Mo doing that, but I like that he's laying it on very thick and telling you, like, if you guys don't like me, then get ready to wake up at 6 a.m. And I got news for you guys. We've done that before. It's not great. I do love American time way better. But it begs the question, wouldn't you just stay where the money is? Or where the interest is? We here in America have had the most interest, and we would fill out those places, especially if they week open like they have had in the past. And now that they have this momentum. So I'm wondering if they're just kind of throwing some arguments out there to see what sticks. And in my opinion, sure, a smaller arena, much better, scale down the production. And he said he wants to do it like a week-long event, almost like an expo. And that could potentially put more attention on the divisions in a way that makes it easier to see. If you were to do like 1 or 2 divisions per day, I don't know, maybe that does make it a little bit easier to see. And maybe you can extend the rights for broadcast for an entire week and make it a spectacle. Oh, wait, that sounds familiar. What are we doing next month? PGF,
yeah,
right.
You don't want to do that overseas right now. That would be a terrible move, actually. They'd lose their audience, I think, if they went to Finland or some other spot. I think America is actually supporting it as a group of spectators right now. Maybe if they went to Brazil, but I think they lose steam if they go out of the country right now. He's got to stop taking tranquilizers and going live on Instagram. I just think he's just talking at this point, man.
Sorry to interrupt. Kevin, what were you saying?
Nah, he doesn't want to take a step backwards. He doesn't want to go. He knows the money is in Vegas. That's where the fight scene is. That's where you're going to get the tickets. He doesn't want to take a step backwards. The whole like idea of him uninvolving himself, I think it's purely a bluff. It's no, ask for me.
Well, it's also a bluff because we've seen it in the past. We've seen him do this. I'm retiring. This is the last one. Just kidding. I'm back. And I'm like, you were never gone. You kept being on the Instagram lives. You want to do this. You want the adulation that comes with it. And I think the weirdest part for me is whenever I see him go live on Instagram, it's not great internet television to watch. I go for the information, and I got to tell you, I was spectacularly surprised that I went, and normally he takes minutes to get to the big bulk of the information. And he actually just said it. He's like, if I do ADCC, this is what I'm thinking for next time, smaller arena. And I go, oh, did I hit the new information? I'm out. That's all I had to watch. Great. It was great. Awesome. Because I didn't have to listen to any more of it. I was in, I out, and I got the important information, the nugget that happened. And that was the pulled quote. And you do see that Craig was able to run with it and said, wow, what a great idea. Who came up with that idea to pay the athletes and to do these things? So no matter what, you can't minimize the effect that Craig Jones Invitational had. It's just going to be a matter of what do they do next to rehabilitate the brand? And I would say their strongest audience is still in the US. If they go to other territories, I think they would do well, but it's undeniable they've been courting this and they've been doing all of these different ADCC opens heavily in the United States. Why would you take that away as your base? So I'm going to say we'll probably see Mo for the next one, because why would you ruin that momentum? But I almost feel like we're going to do this every single time with this dance. Literally.
It's every 2 years. Like, what are you retiring from? Working every 2 years? Like, get over yourself,
Well,
dude.
hold on. I
That
get the
much.
idea that they're difficult to put on. I will always go with
Sure.
you on that. But I think most other event planners, like, they don't necessarily need that credit, perhaps because there is more credit in other sports. So you don't see Roger Goodell showing up every week and being like, do you guys want me back?
Yeah,
I'm only coming back if you want me back. And it's like, bro, nobody cares, Roger Goodell. If you left, we would live just fine. And instead they go, no, just kidding. I'm coming back. Fuck you guys. I hate you guys. I'm coming back just out of spite.
I know so many people that have Mo's like personal phone number, and they like don't know him like that. He just gives it out if you're a competitor. And it always struck me as odd that you would want your phone to blow up like that. Like, I don't even want people at my gym to have my actual phone number. Like, contact me on Instagram, you savage. And then him going live for the dopamine rush makes the whole giving out his phone number thing make sense. I think he loves when he gets 147 texts in an hour. I think he loves that.
I mean, listen, it is what it is. It's a difficult job. I will always go on that side, but I'm always thinking to myself, listen, dude, you're going to take a little bit of a hit. This might be a little bit of an ego, but I know there's a part of you inside that's so mad the flamethrower is going to have to go away, and that the LED wall has to get a little bit smaller, and goddamn, I want those drums, but we can only order 5 drummers. Oh, I hate it. But I think it's better for the brand. I think it just gets more people paid. It gets the athletes paid. And guess what? I know now that we're on this athletes getting paid circle, A+, always been on that side. I hope they are equally ride or die for those of us who work in the supporting roles to get us paid as well. Because I venture that's the next rates. I know what they're getting paid. It's not glamorous, you guys, but you know it's not fun? Talking about how glamorous it is for other people when I just want to make sure people get paid in a healthy and convenient amount. I see a note here from Egghead that says, if they're the Olympics of Jiu-Jitsu, why not let it last 1 to 2 weeks like the Olympics? Well, the Olympics has like a lot of really cool and exciting events. We don't. You know what I mean? Like, we have some that are kind of cool. Some of the weight classes are better than others. That's what we should do. I should have you guys rank the weight classes. That's what we'll do. Power rankings for the weight classes one of these days. Let's see how spicy that one gets. I would just say this. A week long could be a very interesting thing. You run it as a special event for a broadcaster. See what happens. I'm into that. That's a good idea, Mo. Let's see that work. It is longer to pay people. So there is that. Longer to hold the venue. So now you might be running back into the original issue is you have no money because you spent all of it on the venue and production. So 1 to 2 days isn't the worst, but we do need to find a way to make it so you can play along and pay attention to create the spectacle that I think you want it to be. And I think it can be. So I think we're still in the building bricks stages of that. Gentlemen, we have now made our way to the part of the show where we dissect a fight. And unfortunately, it is not the fight that happened between those 2 children that involved crying and angry parents. No, for this one, we decided to go somewhere else. Tim, you found this. What can you tell us for some context about the fight we are about to see in a minute?
There's a lot of slapstick in this fight. Classic slapstick. This would be Charlie Chaplin if he was alive today and he was making reels for Instagram. Some very unexpected things happen. It's not a long fight, but it's highly entertaining in a very hurtful, painful, and also kind of funny way. So I think you'll like it.
Beautiful. Why don't we get straight to it right now? About to put it on in 3, 2, 1. Kevin, take us through your interpretation of this fight.
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, man, this is incredible. This is like a Super Smash Bros. Level. He's got the escalator in play. This is fantastic.
Oh.
Ooh, hockey fights too. Nice little gi grips. The jorts. Jorts versus Cargos had to start this fight. It had to start this fight. He said something about the little bendy knees. Man, this guy's got the whole special. He's got the jorts. He's got the New Balances, the high white socks. This is straight out the 90s. Yo! How bad do you want the rematch that you go down the up elevator? Good Lord.
All right, I'm going to give you a little bit of play-by-play, and then I'll come to Tim to bat up on this one. First things first, we see immediately that there is some aggressive back and forth here. More different Charlie Brown is taking some heavy impacts, gets put on the ground, and is going to get some serious issues as he's taking some blows to the head. But this woman says, CTE be damned. I'm on a schedule. Get the fuck out of here. Now he's staggering back up and decides, let me throw this at you. But oh no, come up, it's happening because ow. And now he is officially dead. Tim, do you want to take us through a dry run of that one as well, sir?
Yeah, here we go. These two guys are fighting over a yellow fanny pack. I saw it first. It falls, and the guy slips on it like it's a damn banana peel. And then the garbage lady comes. She's got a garbage can. She's like, I'm going to clear this up. This is like when there's two dogs fighting in your yard. She comes up and butts him with a can. She's like, get out of here. And he's like, God, if you want the damn fanny pack so bad, you know what? You could have it. He just chucks it at him. A little hard on his pitch delivery. And the thing about moving stairs is they're hard to stand up on once you start going head over heels. And I think at the end, he just tapped out. He's like, that's enough. I give. I'm going to ride this to the top, collect my shit, and go home.
The way he just...
The way he ends... just in utter defeat is just can I point out my favorite moment is this is just the dude who's picking it up. It's like, hey, you bitch, you take this, you fine, you
he doesn't have a shoe.
And then
and you think it's gonna end.
I think the thing I appreciate about this staggered landing is that you don't see it necessarily coming because you think, who would be stupid enough to have this happen to them? But then when it does, you're immediately delighted because now once he's made it to the end of the stairs, see, this is how you know if you make it all the way here and that person didn't try to run up on you to run up the score. I think, it's a pretty good ending to that because it could be disaster with your back turn and taking that much emotional damage. In addition,
how do you fall up a flight of stairs that's moving upwards? How do you fall down those stairs? He fell down the up escalator stairs, dude.
Yeah, he's really got to want it. I love that the other guy had the presence of mind to do the dramatic walk off and not try and tee off on him. He watched him beat him to the ground, right? He's on the down escalator. Buddy falls and outpaces him, lands at the bottom while the winner just looks at him and goes, that's crazy, and keeps walking.
I think the weirdest thing to me is I am so built in when I see somebody filming me and I'm getting my ass beat. I'm always like, don't film this. Like I have the conscious of mind. I don't know how these people operate when it's very clear that somebody's doing this. Like, you're being filmed. Like at this point, I would be yelling at that person, I'm dying and you're filming this. How dare you, sir? So I would tell you this, and I do love this physics, Tim, indeed. So, gentlemen, I would tell you guys this. I feel like we learned a lot today. I feel like the team really came together for this one. And it says those escalators are so sharp on the edge, too. So,
yeah,
there is that. Shout out TJ.
Yeah, he took way more damage off.
He should have stayed down. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. I'm just covering the bases here. You're talking about just stayed down. He was at least beaten up, but he wasn't going to get punished for it. He was in the space of like, all right, I just got my ass kicked. And I think karma, that bitch that it is, said, no.
It's pride before you fall down the up escalator.
The whole
In this
episode
case,
was
it was
worth
a
it
yellow
just for that
fanny
one
pack.
liner. You know what? You were saving that as a great reminder on how we can close out the show here today. But gentlemen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come to you both to go ahead and plug your stuff, and then we will close this out. Kevin, I'll start with you. What would you like to say? And where can the people find you, sir?
People can find me at Superfly in Decatur, Atlanta, or American Top Team Lima in Duluth. Come by and train. It's super welcoming. They're going to try and kill you, but it's super welcoming. And at Kevin Grapples on Instagram.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that one. Tim, I'm going to come over to you in just a second. Where can the people find you, and what is coming up with you in the near future, sir?
I just want to remind everybody, if you do go train with Kevin, go in the month of October, because there's a bunch of submissions that he can't do on you, so you have a greater chance of surviving against him. Outside of that, you could find me on Instagram at InsideBJJ. You can go to InsideBJJ.com, get all the cool stuff that we're doing. I have a Patreon, patreon.com/InsideBJJ. If you're in Nashville, come see me at 10th Planet Nashville. And if you're out in the hood in the 209, please check out our sister school, 10th Planet Stockton. It's great to be here today, Raf. Thanks so much, man.
You're welcome, gents. My appreciation to both you boys. You did great work this week. And as Egghead says, you did very, very well, just aside from one thing, which was other than the debate, which we will fix. We will do some adjustments. We'll retool that one. But in the grand scheme of things, I thank you guys for tuning in. As a reminder, you will see the three of us hosting at the upcoming season of the PGF that begins on November 3rd and goes all the way to November 8th. So we will be the official pre and post shows. We've had meetings with Keelan and with BMAC. Super stoked about what you guys are about to see from us. So stay tuned for more updates from our social media, including Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all of them at Grappling Hour. We have new episodes coming out very frequently, and we will be back here at the Bullpen next Friday. So get excited for that, and we'll give you a full recap of all the events and all the nonsense that happens in the world of grappling and jiu-jitsu. So my thanks to all of you for tuning in. I'll just say this. It has been a great day for grappling. We'll see you guys back on the mats.